Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Surgecast. We're so excited to come and talk with you this week. We've got a lot to talk about. You'll be listening to us talk about the Mikko Rantanen trade. There's lots of things to say about that, a couple of game recaps, and of course, a couple of games to look forward to as we are in the busiest month of the season, really. So stick around. We can't wait to discuss all of that with you. And Zach, if anyone's just now tuning in, where can they find us on all the socials?
Yeah, if you're looking for the actual podcast itself, it's the Surgecast on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, all that stuff. And plus, we have link trees. It's not hard to find us and all that good stuff. We're also on TikTok. So
yeah, look at
Surgecast. So
any socials, look for the Surgecast, and then you can also find our personals on X. I've got TikTok. You guys know where to find us. Our wonderful paid intern pushes all our stuff out.
Yeah, if anything else too, it might be in the description of the episode. It's pretty simple, easy to find us. Yeah, at this point, we're on season 4. If you don't know where to find us at this point, sorry, I guess. I don't know, but either way. But Kat, how are you doing tonight?
Well, as we're getting into it, I'm doing good. I'm tired, and honestly, I can't tell if it's just getting through the work week or if I'm just really tired of our first topic of the night is talking about that Mikko Rantanen trade aftermath. I mean, it just seems like it's going around non-stop.
It really has, and I like what you did there. That was very smooth. Unlike this whole saga that's been going on. Honestly, I'm also kind of tired of hearing about it and reading about it and getting grief from other fan bases about it. It's just
I honestly feel that most people have started to see what it actually unfolded in it, even though the media does seem to still want to clown the Canes for our involvement in it.
I'm not shocked about that. It's the Canes.
But if anyone is a little bit confused on what is kind of broken down, so at the trade deadline, the Canes did trade away Mikko Rantanen for Logan Stankoven.
2 firsts and 2 thirds.
And I mean, also with that deal, we did get Taylor Hall, which we can't forget about because he's been excellent.
Who would have thought that he would have been the one that dialed it a lot quicker?
Yeah. And we sent Colorado Natchez, Drury, and
2 picks.
So
I think it was the second and a fourth. So
yeah.
Hey, overall though, the fact that the Hurricanes didn't have to give up a first and got a bunch of picks in Hall and Stankoven.
It was the trade that kind of rocked the hockey world for a little bit, and no one really knew how to feel. There's a lot of speculation. There was some analysis and judgment coming through.
How do we grade the draft? How do we grade it? And it's like
and that's always how it is when there's a big trade. Yeah. It's like, all right, who won the trade? We all agreed it wasn't the Blackhawks that won the trade, but it was a toss up of okay, well, who's going to win this more, Colorado or Carolina?
Yeah.
So that was the big talk. And for the 13 games of Mikko Rantanen, I mean, we fully admit we were big Mikko defenders. We were like, hey, just give the guy a chance. There's lots of time for him to
in hindsight,
into the system.
In hindsight, how are we supposed to know everything that was going on behind the scenes, and stuff like that? It's just, you figure, oh yeah, he kind of wanted to be here because they asked him and they traded for him, and
yes,
it's a whole thing. And I mean,
that is one thing I want to get there. Again, for a lot of people that don't stay up to date, they're just hearing the rumblings and the talkings and all the stuff the media is saying. I do want to try to break it down for you.
There's a lot. There's
a lot, but I have a little summarized version. I think some Mikko defenders might not fully agree with it, but it's not even fully against the player. But from what it seems, Mikko Rantanen and his camp were in talks with Colorado to do an extension, to sign a new contract. He wanted to be an Av forever, and that's what the Avalanche wanted as well. But they couldn't find a common ground on the money because he thought he was worth a lot more, which he was very well performing. But similar to the Canes on the Ginsel year, Colorado has other things to think about in terms of paying, such as Makar, They have other contracts coming up that they really need to focus on as well. So they offered him what they thought was a fair deal.
Yeah,
And
because he wanted Leon Draisaitl money. That's where the contention was. It's the fact that he wanted Leon money, but the Avs were like, no, our imposed ceiling is you're going to be making less than Nate McKinnon.
Yes, and also you're wanting Draisaitl money while you've never performed alone, like as well as Draisaitl has. Like Draisaitl has proven himself as a solo performer, whereas Rantanen was still kind of like, is it going to matter if McKinnon's not with him? So,
right. And also, like you said, too, they got Cal McCarr, and they also got Nate at some point again, and all these other guys that are coming up. There's a lot of contracts they got to figure out.
So this is the part where it gets iffy because Mikko's camp doesn't fully say this is what happened, but they wanted more, and Colorado wasn't budging. So when there were inquiries from Carolina, they did say we could play for Carolina. We are interested. That is a possibility. They gave Carolina that notice. So, and they also told Colorado. And so, but I'll tell you right now, they told Colorado that in an effort to get Colorado to be like, wait, we'll pay you more. If you're willing to go somewhere else, we want to pay you more and keep you.
It was posturing. They assumed that they can, put a little bit of pressure on the Avs, and the Avs are going to back down. And, they, as the saying goes, we're going to paraphrase this for ratings. They messed around and they really found out about it, essentially. So
yeah, they FAFO.
Exactly. They FAFO'd too close to the sun.
You can Google that if you don't know what it means.
Too close to the sun on that one. Anyway.
So they thought it was going to turn around for them. Instead, Colorado said, okay, great. Because Carolina's interested and they have cheaper deals for us that we would work really well in our system. And Colorado said, bet. And them and Carolina shook hands. They sent Mikko over to Carolina, and they got in return, they got Natchez and Drury and those picks. And this also worked with Chicago with Hall as well, and them retaining some of Mikko's salary, which is actually really funny because Chicago still is retaining his salary, but now he's in Dallas, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they're having to pay him.
Chicago's
they're having to pay him regardless. It doesn't matter where he's at because the Hurricanes in
Chicago.
The Hurricanes didn't retain. So yeah, basically Chicago is still on the hook for half of his contract.
Yeah.
And he's back in the division once again. So he basically goes from Colorado to Carolina back to the Central like that. So
I'm sure they're
they still. Oh yeah. Hey, it's like, oh, you thought you got rid of this guy? No, have fun with him for 8 more seasons.
I didn't even think about Chicago's probably like, can you get out of our division? That's why we're keeping your salary. Anyway.
Yeah, so not how it worked apparently.
Then the news was, and this is what fans were really sympathetic to, is Mikko Rantanen said he was blindsided by it. He didn't know he was going to get traded. All of that, it happened so quickly. So everyone was like, hey, I'm really feeling for this guy. He thought he was going to be on this team forever.
Yeah.
And then he gets traded. Well, now that you know that they did give Carolina the green light and this is why he was traded, it's kind of like, okay, but and now they like to say, well, we were willing to take a hometown discount to stay at Colorado. I don't think that was
you weren't saying that before.
I don't think that was fully told to Colorado, because if that was the case, the deal would have been done and they wouldn't have been traded like this. So I think it's in hindsight, they're like, well, we would have, but
honestly, they're saving face, Cat, because let's be honest, Colorado gave him a little more than what Dallas offered. The Hurricanes definitely gave more than what Dallas offered, and they still were like, no, we don't want to be in Carolina. We'll go to Dallas for this. Yeah. And it's like, but you could have taken that in Colorado and saved everyone the headache. It's just saving face and trying to act like, well, Colorado didn't want to work with us, and they're probably going to be like, no, we did. It's you who didn't want to work with us. So nice try, though.
So, continuing the saga, as now we have more information. Apparently, when he got here, according to his camp, he came in with an open mind. But according to what Brind'Amour has said, who I believe over that camp, because I think that camp is trying to save face in all of this, because if by chance they have to deal with anyone else, I know there's going to be a lot of GMs that do not want to deal with them. They were trying to say that Rod was not completely correct about this, but Rod did say he talked to Mikko, and Mikko said, hey, there's teams I want to play for, and Carolina is not one of them. But this is coming under literally Carolina got this man. Biz can say all he wants. The media can say all he wants. we have a GM who does such due diligence, like the PhD on that man, the
patents
he has,
else, yeah.
like he is research. That is his domain.
When they talk about who the smartest guy in the room is, yeah, he is literally the smartest guy in the room.
Like, you can't tell me they went into this fully like, hey, YOLO, let's see what happens. They had under the best impression that Colorado said, yes, Carolina is somewhere we would play for. That is why they went in, or that's what Rantanen's camp said. They said, under the best impression, we will play for Carolina. That's what Carolina's impression was. So they were like, sure. So now everyone's like, how do you bring a player in like that doesn't have an extension locked in? And it's like,
not a lot of teams do that, though. I mean, there's a lot of trades where they're getting high rentals that are, swings. I mean, it happens. Like the Hurricanes are the only team though that swing big without extensions involved.
Yes, and they did it, and they did the trade so early. They were like, "Hey, we have time for him to adjust and time to see how it's going to go." So then we can offer him the extension, and it'll be like, "Hey, we're all good buddies. We're all adjusted to each other now. Here we go." That's why you got the announcement from the Canes saying, "Hey, we offered him this," which was more than Colorado, and it was it was going to work with what he had been asking for. And so everyone was like, "Why isn't he saying yes to this? Why isn't he saying yes to this?"
Come to find out.
Yes. Come to find out, this whole time while we're like, oh, he's not playing super hot. Like, it's just like he seems to be really fighting the system. And like, he's just maybe sick. Maybe he's just not gelling with the guys yet. Come to find out that they said they were really considering it. But based on what Rod said, they pretty much weren't really thinking Carolina at all.
Even Eric Tulsky said too when he was with Jeff Merrick, which I know we'll talk about here in a little while. But even Tulsky was like, he just didn't feel like this wasn't home to him. Yeah. So it definitely puts you in a weird spot where you go get this guy, you're hoping for an extension, and then it just turns into, I just don't feel like this is the place to get the extension for.
Yeah. To quote Tulsky on this, on what we just said, he said, big picture, we want to be aggressive. We want to take swings. We had a chance to acquire the kind of player you can't normally get your hands on. So we took a shot, which is something Canes fans have asked for the GM to do forever. Yeah. And I want to remind, this is Tulsky's first as a solo GM trade deadline. Mm-hmm. We knew he was not going to sign an extension the day we traded him for him. We had reason to believe that maybe we were right or maybe we were wrong, but we had a reason to believe we had a decent chance of getting it done. And then he came in, he decided it wasn't for him, and that's been pretty rare for us. We had time to move on and still end up okay with a player we're really happy with. I love that he says he decided it wasn't for him, and that's pretty rare for us because, it all the talk in the media right now is Carolina can't keep a player. And it's like
Jacob Slavin, Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis.
Big extensions on our team. And what do you mean we can't keep a player? Like any player that's kind of left us, that's been like a big player. If you look at it, they were with us for quite a few seasons, and then they wanted more money or they wanted longer term, and Carolina just couldn't do that, which a lot of teams do. You can't pay everyone everything they want and keep everyone around forever.
Trocheck, Pesci, Nason.
It's like, what do you mean? That's what happens to every hockey team.
Right.
And here's all of these guys said they would stay if we could pay or if we had the time, like we could keep them that long, and we just couldn't. But that happens to every hockey team. It's not a Carolina special.
No, here's the thing though, too, Callie. Think about this. They're like, no one wants to come here. Brent Burns waived his no trade to come to Carolina. Sean Walker came here on a very reasonable contract for 5 seasons. Shane Gostisbehere
came back.
He's like, when I heard Carolina wanted me, I was I'm paraphrasing, but he was ecstatic. Once he heard Carolina was involved, he was done. He's like, I want to go back. He loved it the first time for the few games he was there, and he wanted to come back.
And the only reason we didn't keep him the first time, we still had Pesci and Shea, and we couldn't pay or keep him he got more money. Did
Detroit give him? He's like, he would have stayed in Carolina, but Detroit threw him a lot of extra money. And like you said, we also had everyone else on the roster that we had to take care of at that time. So we get Walker, we get Gostisbehere back. We get all these extensions with Seth Jarvis is making under $8 million for 8 seasons. Jacob Slavin took the team friendliest of friendliest deals. 6.4 for the next 8 seasons, and he is the best defensive defenseman in the NHL. And I am sorry, I am so tired of the well, the Hurricanes don't have a number 1 defenseman.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was really dumb by literally Biz and them are all praising Slavin through the Four Nations, and the moment
my point is, we get guys here. Guys want to come to Carolina. Guys extend here for a reason because they love the area. We have alumni who still live in the area full time, like Jacob Slavin. You know how some guys have different homes back where they're from and stuff like that? You know what Jacob Slavin does? He stays in Raleigh all year round. He doesn't go anywhere. His offseason is Raleigh. Like that. What does that tell you about the area? Guys want to be here.
Jeff Merrick continued. I really encourage everyone to check this out.
Jeff Merrick's amazing regardless.
He had the same questions. He said, I don't know what that I've heard someone specifically say, I want out of Carolina. I don't want to be here. That's why this sort of story that popped up here rings a little hollow to me. And Tulsi said, we've had to let a lot of people go because we've had a really good team and the salary cap makes it hard to keep everyone.
Exactly.
But I don't know that we've had anybody who wanted to leave unless it was somebody who felt like they were blocked. That happens occasionally, but even then, not very often. For the most part, guys who are here want to be here. We talked about Slavin earlier. He just signed a long-term extension at a number designed to help us keep building around him. We've had people do that because they like it here and they want to be here and they want to help us. It's a personal thing. Every individual makes their own choice, and some people like the bustle of Canada, some people like warmer weather and climates, and some people like small towns where they can raise a family. Some people want an urban metropolis. Whatever reasons he had for deciding it wasn't fit for him, that's okay, but no, it's not something that happens all the time.
No,
that is one thing that's irking me with the media is the media, they never focus on Carolina until there's bad news pretty much about Carolina. And then they're like, why can't they keep anyone? And you're like, have you even been watching who we brought in? Or like,
why they don't. No, they don't, because that's why it's always an easy punchback for the Canes. And that's why there's like, oh, it's Carolina. It's not that big of a deal. And that's the thing that's, like you said, it's ridiculous how the fact that you get all these guys who want to be here with the money that they get. Guys, like I said, guys are leaving their no trades. Guys are taking haircut. Let me point to another team who had guys who wanted to stay there for less money. Look at the Boston Bruins. Krejci, Bergeron, Pasternak, he definitely wants. I mean, he deserves the money, but Marchand before he got traded, which is still the same.
If you want to talk about a franchise letting down a player,
especially
a player that wants to be there, then that's your captain, which is a whole other thing. I don't know if the league is valuing the captains as much as they should be anymore. But
but my point being is though, what have we heard every year about Boston? All the guys want to be there. They all took discounts to stay because they want them to build around the team. Mm-hmm. Carolina does the same thing. They have guys, like I said, Sebastian Aho can make way more than he's making. Seth Jarvis can be making way more than he's making. Jacob Slavin is definitely, what would you say, Kat? $9-10 million per season on the right team. But he's taking 6.4 because he wants to be here. And in fact, it's 8 years and it's still mind-boggling that we got him for less than 6.5. That's the thing about Carolina. It's a great place to be in. It's like, you just get here and see what this place is like. And that's why everyone loves the arena is getting upgrades, but they love the fan base. They love the area. Name another city that's like Raleigh right now where you see so many trees or the scenes are just so great or it's low key. Yeah. My point, but you get my point though. There's a different vibe to Carolina. So it's just crazy to me, but yeah, the whole and the thing they keep linking the Jake Gensel thing, totally different. It's a totally different scenario.
Yeah, and to finish this out with that is Tulski he does keep addressing that because people do keep comparing Gensel
there's nothing to
Rantanen. So people keep connecting it to Jake Gensel, a very similar situation in one way. We traded for him knowing he wouldn't sign an extension the day we traded for him because he had been with one team his whole career. Mm-hmm. That was where his mind was. He didn't have his head around signing anywhere else right away. He came in, he got to know us, and he really liked it. He wanted to be here, and that's what happens most of the time. But we couldn't get that one done because we had a salary cap. Okay, I do need to remind everyone, too, Eric Tulsky, again, this is his first trade deadline. He was not running it solo for the Jake Gensel. Waddell was still here. It was a team effort. We had a very different cap space. You had to figure out how to sign Slavin. You had to figure out how to sign Jarvis. You had so many different factors. Like in hindsight, it's very easy to be like, yeah, I really wish we had gotten that one signed. In the long run, we should have figured that out. But you've never had, like, the Kings haven't had such a big deal like that. Also have to go against all these other deals. And I'm going to maintain Tampa got their nose in there and we're talking in there before they were supposed to, which is why it got a little wonky. But that is my personal opinion. Anyway, they're not comparable, except everyone can, like Jake Gensel a little bit more because it was at least a guy that bought into the system when he got here.
He thrived with Aho. Like him and Aho and Jarvis, my goodness.
And that ties into, as we continue the story of the last couple of weeks. So he tells Rod, okay, you're not one of the teams I want to play for. Pretty early on. And then you're seeing he's struggling to fit the system. Well, then it comes around the time of the Bruins game and it's just like the Canes won that game and they're just struggling.
It was not
like
pretty.
They won that game, but like his game was so bad. And it was just like and then when this is where Hurricanes fans are upset. We're upset about two things. One, saying that people don't want to be here because that's false. Second thing we're kind of mad about, this guy is free to go wherever he wants to go. He's signing his next 8 years of his life somewhere. So like, yeah, make the choice, decide where you want to go. Fantastic. What really makes Carolina fans mad is that he decided a week ago and then like the effort was gone. Like it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to come in and play like the superstar that I'm wanting to be paid as. I'm going to play like that until I go to the team that fits me. But no, it was, okay, I'm where I don't want to be. I'm just going to, I'll be here until I go somewhere else. And it's like, you weren't helping our team in that effort. Like you weren't doing anything for this team. You weren't buying in. If anything, you were causing chaos in that locker room. As we'll talk about the games that just happened, you can tell the locker room is back in tip-top shape. So Canes fans not happy about that, but also his camp and him just keep saying all these things where it's like, yeah, it just Dallas felt right. And you're like, okay, but like you haven't even been there compared to Carolina, and to say like, oh, Carolina plays this way and Dallas, and then like Dallas and Carolina play so similar, surprisingly. Like, yeah, there's some differences, but they play pretty similar. So if you're not going to have that work ethic on the new team, good luck to Dallas. Honestly.
Well, the thing that really irks a lot of people too, for the fact you heard the initial reports at like 12:30 in the morning from Elliot Friedman going, hey, we might have some legs on a Dallas Carolina deal. And then of course everyone's like, oh crap, I want to go sleep. Well, eventually everyone goes to sleep, and then it drags, it keeps on dragging. You finally get it like was like around 11 o'clock noon. And by that point, and Eric Tulsky said, that took up so much of the team's bandwidth. They were focusing on that deal because they had the framework done. It's just Rantanen in his camp, dragged their feet with Dallas to figure out his contract.
Well, they still wanted more, and Dallas said, no, we're not paying you more. It's like, if you wanted more, the other camps were the ones offering. That's not what we're offering. If you want to come here, this is what we're paying.
We're giving you 8x12 for $96 million, and that's it. And eventually they do, but it was so late. And Tulsky even said this, and this is the thing. So what he said, and leads into what a report that I heard and we all saw, really irritates me. Eric Tulsky was trying to find a way to, he's like, we're looking at possibly flipping the picks that we got in the Stankoven trade. Mm-hmm. But we ran out of time because the bandwidth of the Mikko trade took up too much of it, because it spread them out because they're getting all these different offers. And the fact that they took so long to agree to it, they ran out of time. Here's the thing that annoys me. So there's the two parts. We've heard two different reports of different trades possibly. Toronto was thinking about giving up, I think it was Fraser Minton and someone else some picks. There was a couple picks. I know Minton was one of them. Yeah, this was for Rantanen.
Which I wouldn't have wanted, but yeah, that was.
I mean, they're good. They're okay players, but it's not to where you got with Stankoven. But my point is the fact that was one of Toronto's offers. The Hurricanes came back with, what about Mitch Marner? Mitch and his camp was like, we don't want to waive our trade because we want to stay in Toronto and try and see what we can do this year. Which, hey, all for it. Hey, if you want to stay in Toronto and see if you can, it's your hometown team, hey, power to you. So that didn't work out. But then here's the trade, Cat, that really could have helped the Hurricanes a lot. Vancouver Canucks, for the last, 2-3 seasons, have been talking about moving Brock Besser.
Mm-hmm.
They asked the Canucks GM, hey, what would the deal have worked? You know what he said, Kat? A first rounder would have gotten Brock Besser. If this trade came in a lot faster, yeah, the Hurricanes have a first round pick, but the trade wasn't done. So how are they supposed to know? They're not going to go and just trade picks without knowing if they got this one done for Stankoven.
Yeah.
If it was done a lot sooner, you have like a bunch of firsts. Hey, Brock, come to Carolina, Vancouver. Here's your first. We could have gotten Brock Besser as well on top of Stankoven and on top of Hall with that previous trade, but because they took so long, you missed out on Brock Besser. So that thing that's really annoying for Hurricanes fans too is the fact that they lost out on a top 6 winger.
I know a lot of Canes were annoyed that we didn't do something with those picks, and literally they
ran out of time.
We had no time. We had no time by the time, and that's. The fact that you got the note of that deal the night before and you couldn't get it done by till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whatever.
It took over 12 hours for that contract to get done for the extension to finally even know what was going on. And that's the thing that it's the fact that they drug it out for so long to deadline day and then they dragged their feet for another 12 hours from the initial report to the actual trade. It's just it's all crazy.
With it's all said and done, the Canes are very excited with who we have now. It's guys that have brought in, the guys that have played like they know, like they want to be here from the beginning. They buy into the system, which is great for the morale. I mean, the locker room is the life of this team. And over the last 2 weeks, we've seen it take a hit, and it seems like it's definitely on the up and up for sure.
I do have to say, though, remember, the trade that came after the deadline was done was for Mark Jankowski from Nashville for a 5th rounder of 2025. Mm-hmm. So we can't go on without mentioning that we did have one extra trade that was after the fact.
Yes. So I love the 2 guys that we got, and we got a couple picks that'll help us in the off season as we continue to grow and build the team. But pretty much even though the media is going to continue to draw this out, it's the end of the Rantanen saga. Good luck to Dallas with how he performs with them. I hope everyone tunes into the Dallas-Colorado game coming up because that'll be really interesting. And also, you know what? Great for him. He is signed somewhere for 8 years, so hopefully no other GMs will have to deal with that agent in the future. For him, at least.
And you know what? And the Hurricanes will have to deal with him in Dallas twice a year unless it's a cup final.
Yeah.
So have fun in the West again.
Speaking of, though, as we move on, we got to talk about the last couple of games that have gone on because.
Oh my goodness, Kat! What?
Oh my gosh, they have been.
Wow. Where's this team been?
They've been stuck with Mikko Rantanen. That's what's been happening.
The Cat, for the fact that I know we're gonna talk about these games, but think about this: the goal differential, 8-3 in the last.
I said, even when we were struggling, that the goaltending was never an issue because they were not letting in that many goals.
I haven't seen that for months.
Yeah, but even when we've been struggling, it's like everyone always likes to pull up the goaltending. Don't think that's the issue because even when we played bad, we never gave up that many goals because the goalies were like, we're going to hang on until they decide to start scoring again. And we did.
It's safe to say when you score 4-2 and 4-1 in back-to-back games and they're against 2 really good opponents, not upset about that. But of course, we have to talk about Boston first. And hey, we beat them again. Wasn't the cleanest of games, wasn't the prettiest, but hey, how about Seth Jarvis just doing Seth Jarvis things?
I mean, it was a decent game for some of the guys, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, individually, there's some guys who played well. Not the entire team, but some, yeah. So, hey, they don't ask how, they asked how many, and it was just enough to beat the Bruins. And hey, like I said, props to Seth Jarvis for just late game winners. What can I say? He has a theme for the dramatic.
As I'm trying to remember, was this the game that Orlov was out and then we were going 11-7.
No, we had Riley Stillman come in, and then
he got injured, right?
He took the skate to the face.
Mm-hmm.
Or as he joked in the recent article with the Chicago Wolves, don't try to bite a skate. Technically.
Yeah. He said it was above his teeth, under his lip, like gum area, and he didn't even know how many stitches. And he said he just didn't know where the blood was coming from. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm glad we never saw the photos because that had to look gnarly. But that was
I will say that was a little wonky playing with 5 defense. That definitely was a wonky.
That was definitely brutal because that was pretty early too. So you're talking a good 2/3 of the game where you're going 12-5.
Oh, I mean almost the whole game because he got injured in the first minute or two.
Was it that early? I thought it was I thought it was the first 10 minutes.
No, it was literally as I was getting to my seat.
Okay, then you're talking about 99% of the game where you're going 12-5 and you still win that somehow. Yeah. Props to the Canes, man. Well, I mean, goaltending, obviously. I mean, the fact that you had to go through all that, and it wasn't even Pasternak that scored, which is absolutely insane.
It was geeky the whole time.
Yeah, and I kept saying it. Bring him back, but you know what? I guess Morgan Geeky still can out Pizza the Hut after all.
Yeah. So I will say this game is another example, and we'll talk about the next one too. The Canes love scoring shorthanded goals. We don't like power play goals, but we love shorthanded goals as we've started quite a few games with it. And then we've got some weird ones with this one with Burns scoring. It was a weird angle bouncing off people. And then against Tampa, Martinook gets one somehow in the smallest of spots by Vasilevsky. It's we get the shorties and then we get the weird ones, and then we're just on a roll.
Hey, Kat, the puck luck's back. That's what we talked about we talked about where's the puck luck? And shout out to Ryan Henkel for this stat, which is still absolutely insane to me that this is a thing. 2025, how many power play goals do you think we've had so far in 2025 alone? Guess how many penalty kill goals we got?
6.
Yeah. We don't have a penalty kill. We got a power kill or however you want to call it. That's just insane to think about.
What's interesting is I've watched it and I know even when we're doing so well, our power play just struggles. It's gotten a little better. There's been some movement.
We've got goals here and there.
Stakehoven has been moving around. I really do think one of the hindering thing is for some reason they play that power play a lot like a penalty kill. They're very stagnant and they need to move. And when they do move, great things happen and you get shots and you get opportunities. But when they get stagnant or they start second guessing where to pass it, it gives the defense time to read them. And then we just get struggle. And I know a lot of people will say, well, it's also the entry since we've lost Natchez. I will say, yes, that's taken a hit. 2, we struggled a little bit with the power play even in the last couple of games that Natchez was with us. So yes and no.
The power play has just been an absolute mess.
I will say this, as I said at the beginning of the season where I said put Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis together. This is my hot take. I think Jackson Blake should be an entry man. Every time he does an entry, if you watch on the power play, if he has an entry, he gets in. And he does it pretty good. It's pretty clean.
Nothing against Fishy, but he is not an entry guy. His zone entries are not good. They are, like I said, love the guy, but absolutely brutal on the entries. A lot of turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you. Jackson Blake, if there's someone you really need to do some zone entries with, he's that guy, but of course he's on the power play 2 unit. So is it a Logan Stankoven? Is it a Seth Jarvis? Is it Shingot? They got to figure out someone else because honestly, Fishy is just not that guy.
I fully support Blake. Or, let's see. Can Stank be an entry man? He's new. Let's see if he can.
He's got some sneaky speed. He's got that bulldog in him. So, hey, why not? Give him the short king bowling ball and see what he can do.
Yeah. Speaking of, all right, moving past the Bruins game. So, you're looking at Winnipeg. You're playing the top team in the league. You've just been trashed by the media for a little bit because they're just no one wants to play in Carolina. They look dumb doing all this stuff with Mikko Rantanen and all this stuff. And you sure that locker room is just we're so tired. We just want to get out and play good hockey. They come out and they don't look back. They're like, listen, we're second in the Metro for a reason. We know how to play. Like, you guys might think no one wants to play here, but all of us that are here do. And they came out with such force in that game. They were so ready to play.
Mark Jankowski, like, have yourself a
every
debut.
Period. They didn't let up a period.
What have we been asking for, Kat? 60 minutes of Hurricanes hockey. That was the epitome of 60 minutes of Canes hockey, just forechecking them to death, back checking them like crazy. Great defense. Winnipeg barely even had any shots at all this game. That's how insane it was. The fact that they shut them down completely. And the fact that Mark Jankowski, of all guys, just has a debut of debuts.
They're like
what?
Oh, these top players can't play in the system. Maybe Rot's the problem. Maybe they're not putting him with the right guys. They're not giving him enough ice time. No one wants to play there. And like, we have two guys that come in. They're like, well, they got these guys, but no one wants to play in Carolina. They can't sit there. Blah, blah, blah. And they come out and immediately these guys are like, we're not making a ton of money. We're not Mikko Rantanen, but we're going to play hard and we're going to score and we're going to play it for this team. Like, you would think maybe this might be a hard, like, with all the media struggle going on with new guys, you're like, okay, if they don't play super in sync or they're playing weird, like, I understand the mental focus that is not there. Yeah. They came out like they had no issues.
No, and you're talking what? Maybe a practice, maybe a morning skate too, and that's pretty much it. The crazy part is that Mark Jankowski, as the game went on, he got penalty kill time. He got power play 2 time because that's how good he was playing. That man, the first goal he shot was an absolute top cheddar, grandma hide the cookies like type shot, where it's like, how the heck did he shoot that puck? On Hellebuck of all guys. Mm-hmm. He played 9 minutes and 6 seconds of ice time. Less than 10 minutes.
He scored 2 goals in 9 minutes.
Kat, how many shots do you think he took in that game, if you had to guess, without looking it up? How many shots total do you think he had that whole game?
5.
2. He went 2 for 2. He went 2 for 2. He had a 100 shooting percentage with the Canes on Connor Hellebuck. And thank you to the paid intern. Yeah, 4 goals all season with the Nashville Predators. First game with the Hurricanes, 2. He's already up to 6. 2 goals on 2 shots, 9 minutes and 6 seconds of total ice time. Have a debut. We had a Hattie watch for Mark Jankowski. It's insane. And I love the comparison everyone kept bringing up too, of like, he scored 2 goals. The other guy scored 2 goals in 13 games. Funny how that worked out.
And then the unpaid intern, we were literally going into I think the 3rd period, and he was like, this night would just be even better if Stank scored. And
I called him before the game.
Next power play.
Yeah. Logan Stank.
Next power play. The smallest man says, all right, bet. And I love, they keep asking him about it and everything. And he goes, I know it's hard to score regularly on the goalkeepers nowadays. He goes, you have to get in there and get whatever you can on that puck and get it in there. And it's like, yes, exactly. Please do more of that. Use all 5-8 of you.
Hey, it's like, hey, you want some greasy goals? Here, throw a bulldog in front of him and let him go for the bone. And that's basically what he did. I called him before the game, like, it would be fantastic if we had a Stankoven debut goal. He gave us one. Who would have thought that would be after a Mark Jankowski double? But hey, you get a power play goal. It's a great tipping from a ghost shot. Shane Gosper, give this guy some flowers. The dad power is rejuvenated his slump. Like, he has been absolutely on fire even before that too. But Stankoven gets a goal in his debut. Mark Jankowski did it. You love to see it. The last time a guy had 2 goals in his debut was Morgan Geekie.
And then Jarvis does what he does best and is like, empty net. All right, bet.
Yeah, of course.
And pretty much sealed the deal.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but I like how the fact that they asked him, I think it was the second intermission, and they're like, what do you think of the new guys? They're pretty good, huh? Like, you could tell the Jarvie swagger was back. That team was absolutely, and Frederick Anderson, what an absolute clinic he was putting on in net.
Well,
outside of the brain fart, it should have been 4-1. But
listen, no. No.
That second goal, he passed it right to Adam Lowry. That was
4-0.
Well,
but
yeah.
But I will,
for the most part, he was on a clinic.
Listen, that is, I tweeted it too. That is the Freddie Anderson experience. He plays so well, so stoic, and then all of a sudden, it's like
one or two goals, and you're like, what? You're like,
and
how?
Yeah, and you're like, oh, it's not Piotr in net. All right, he's not going to come out and be wild, and it's like, well, you're going to get some other theatrics.
It's funny how it's like Piotr's calmed down on the over aggressiveness, and it's like,
well, yes and no, yeah.
He's
smarter with it. He's smarter with it.
Yeah, he's a lot more tamer this. Real quick on him, I love the fact that you're seeing more content from him talking about his practices, goalie pad stuff. Like the fact you're getting more content from Piotr, you love to see it. So, gotta give a little love to him for that. But Freddie, though, that's a Freddie Anderson experience. But hey, overall,
it is, and I will say, as we talk about this game, and then talking about the Tampa game. My opinion on our goaltending, I'm not upset with our goaltending. I think they have both played excellent. I think the guys are finally rewarding them for the saves they're making.
Finally.
I will say my hot take, and we're getting into playoffs and like Rod never gives an answer, but I do think my hot take is I would go with Piotr as your starting goaltender. I think he's earned it. I think you've earned it with this season. I know, Freddie's making a little more. Freddie's the veteran. But based on play alone and earning it, I would say Piotr is your starter.
Well, think about this, Kat, because I know we're going to talk about Tampa, but he just notched his 24th win of the season. That is a career high for him. Like, that's insane to think about the fact that he got a career high in wins after setting it last year. Like, I think we have like 19
and he's dropping his stick less.
He is. And here's and a lot more smarter poke checks too. But think about this. So you have 17 games left. They're doing the on-off. They're swapping the netminders. Mm-hmm. Let's say he gets 8, maybe 9 more starts. He is 6 away from hitting 30. I hope it happens. I really hope he hits that 30 because that'd be fantastic. But do you think with, let's say, 8 or 9 starts left, he's got to win at least 6? Do you think it's possible that he might hit 30?
Yeah.
I believe he might.
With the games we have left, yeah.
It's going to be very close. I could see him hitting 28 or 29, but I'm really hoping I would love to see him hit 30, but even if he hits 20 or 29, that's still really good for the fact that he's played so many games and even missed time too, but I think it's very doable.
Yeah.
It's just you got to hope the guys in front of him give him the support to get the extra 6 within the next 8 or 9 of starts that he has. But it is very doable, in my opinion. So
yeah. So the guys go and play against the top team, and they come out swinging, saying, "All right, well, we're still here, ready to play Carolina hockey, and we're ready to go."
Oh yeah, right in the mouth.
Well, then we get to play Tampa Bay, which no matter how well they're doing in the season, plays really well against Carolina. Like they just know our system really well. They find ways to exploit it.
Mm-hmm. They've already beaten us twice already.
They've beaten us twice already. But we kind of returned the favor, especially score-wise, from the first game, our home opener.
The home opener, yeah. Like
where we lost 4-1.
Yep.
Well, we came back this game and we said, okay, let's, play it back, reverse it, and ready to go. I love, if you haven't seen Seth Jarvis quotes from those games, so it was an ESPN game. So they're talking to him between the boards. And his, just pure, these are thoughts he's had, and it's said as nicely as possible. But there's more meaning behind it because they asked him, they said, okay, so how is it with, everything going on? And he said, how's the team doing with everything that's been going on? And he said, just sticking together no matter what the analyst, you guys, are saying about us. And it's like, okay, Seth Jarvis, go off, King, because everyone's like, exactly. That's exactly Carolina, is that they're like, you're finally paying attention to us and you're only paying attention because we're struggling. But it's because of a certain player, and it's like you're taking shots at the rest of the team because this one player didn't want to be there. So
I will give
the dig-in mentality is strong.
Oh, 100%. I will give pass, though, on Ija Malesko and Mike Monaco. They do a very good job with their goal call. Like, they call games pretty even. They do.
Oh, yeah. The ESPN, from what I've heard, the ones that we've had recently have been really good. I think that was more of a shot at
overall,
than some of the other ones. Yeah.
Mike Rupp or whatever his name is from I forget where I don't know if it's SportsCenter or TSN. I don't care. It is what it is. But yeah, Mike does a good job. So does AJ. Even Arda. Arda does a pretty good job too. And Kevin Weeks. How can you not be? How you can't be mad at Kevin Weeks? I mean, come on. It's shady 80. But yeah, the fact that you could the fact that his smile too on the bench, that Jarvie lighthearted swaggerness that he has to him. Mm-hmm. It's back. How about that goal, Cat? My gosh,
that goal was disgusting.
Nasty.
It was coming off.
Gross.
It was coming off a penalty kill where you haven't been able to clear the zone. You're getting just bombarded with hard shots from Tampa. Very high danger things going on. You're trying to hold down the fort. So is Piotr. They finally get a spring. You get it to Jarvis, and he beats Vasilevsky over the left shoulder, top shelf. Like,
the only reason why that even worked, the only reason why it worked is because of how he shoots, because he's a right-hand shot. Only reason why that puck even makes it, it goes under the stick to the defenseman. I mean, yeah, that was just pure disgusting. Like, oh my goodness, how did that go?
Him and Aho together. Like, Aho had to fight off like 2 Tampa Bay guys to get that to Jarvie, and it was just like all of a sudden it was in. Gross. And I think Vasilevsky was just like, what just happened?
Yeah, like I think it pretty much shocked everyone because even Walt was like, ew, because it was absolutely gross. It was just so nasty. It's like, how? Seth Jarvis, how? And the fact is, Cat, that was his.
What was that noise, Zach?
What? That's just, yeah. It was just so gross. Like, my goodness, sir. But my point being is, that was his 3rd goal in 3 straight games. He's up to 26 already. He leads the team in goals, and he's played 7 less games than everyone else. And he leads the team in shorthands with 4. The only guy that's ahead of him in the entire league shorthanded wise is Sam Bennett with 5. Jarvis has 4. He's got like 3 power play goals. Like I said, leads the team with 26.
How many does Aho have?
Shorties?
Yeah.
3.
Okay.
But he's got more. But he's got like 1 more power play. But he's got like 5 overtimes and 7 game winners, because that's.
What's even nicer is that not only did you do that against Vasilevsky, who I maintain is still one of the top goaltenders in the league, because
definitely top 3.
I don't think Chesty has taken the throne from him fully, but the fact that you did it against him
is pretty close. Yeah.
The fact that you did it against him, but also you did it against Team Canada's coach, the coach that benched you, the coach that played you less time, and you're like, all right.
Yeah, and the crazy part, guys, he's 4 goals short of a back-to-back 30-goal seasons, and he's 11 points off from back-to-back 60-point seasons.
And he's locked in with the Hurricanes, not going anywhere.
7 more years of Seth Jarvis, and we can still give him another extension before that one's even done. Yeah. Hurricane for life, this kid. Yeah, just like I said, 3 straight games with the goal. He's feeling it. Seth Jarvis is just doing Seth Jarvis things.
And you thought, okay, so we talked about that when they were playing against Winnipeg, they were all locked in. They were giving you 3 periods of strong hockey.
That second period was
They said, you know what? Tampa Bay, we can do it too. They were all on top of it that first period. Like, no matter what Tampa would throw at them, the Canes said they took it, and then they came right down and peppered. They played the same game against Tampa. They said, all right, as soon as you give us this puck, we're getting down there as well. And they had so many shots. So then they get that shot from Jarvis. And then in the second period, where you're like, oh, the 1 goal lead, it's just like, it's hard against Tampa. You're just waiting to see like, who's next to score. And you get Morton Hook with that. You had like 3 high danger shots, like really good shots and saves from Vasilevsky right beforehand. Blake and Jarvis both deserved like 2 more goals each that game, but Vasilevsky was playing Vasilevsky. And then Martinic goes, well, they called me Gretzky at one point, and throws a shot at net.
It was a backhand
Between Vasilevsky and the post, and everyone's just like, did that just happen?
And
Martin's already celebrating, of course.
Yeah. The thing was, Kat, it was a backhand. It wasn't like he was shooting from his forehand. It was a backhand shot on the most ridiculous angle, and it goes in. The Hurricanes outshot Tampa 16-5 that period. That's how was it 16-5 or 15-6? Either way, I digress. It was a lot to a
15-6. You're close.
Okay, 15-6. That's just the angle of the shot. It was a backhand. How that went in, I think it shocked pretty much everyone because like how
did it go in? Like how did it go in? But also how did it go in on that goalkeeper that wasn't playing badly? He was making all of these really big saves.
It's Vassy.
And then Taylor Hall with the pass to the real 96. Please stand up with your Rolex. Scored his 100th goal
of his career.
Like, come on, man.
Taylor
was waiting months for that.
Well, yeah,
I think he almost jumped into the seats in front of us. He was so excited.
Yeah, like the fact, because I mean, Jack, like he's only scored like 2 goals in 2025. He finally gets off the schneid for 100. He's 3 goals away from setting a career high in goals for a season. The fact he did 100. What an absolute just rocket of a shot. But Taylor Hall with the sauciest of sauce passes. Like Italian grandmothers would have loved the sauce.
Taylor Hall also deserves some goals in that game. He was doing all of the work, which this is, we always say, okay, we're done with the Mikko talk. But for anyone that was comparing Mikko's time with Taylor Hall's time at the Canes, you can't be watching the games because Taylor Hall has bought in and played Carolina hockey since he's been here. And Canes fans know it doesn't matter if he's not fully on the scoreboard all the time. His effort on the ice is there.
It's very noticeable. I've said this, Kat. I know we've said it before too on the show. Extend him 3 years. I don't care what the AAV is. I mean, keep it reasonable. But my point is, sign this man, let him retire as a Carolina Hurricane because he's bought in from the jump. He's a top 9 guy anyone would love to have. Veteran presence, former MVP, first overall pick. This guy's got stats galore. Yeah, unfortunately, he was on some bad teams recently, but Taylor Hall, the effort's there. He's bought in, second power play. Yeah. He does everything that Rod asked him to do in a short amount of time. How do you not want that past this season? Give that man an extension and be done. Make him a Hurricane for the next 3 or 4 years.
The only blemish on this game was the one Tampa goal in the third period, and honestly,
that wasn't even on Piotr. It was like a triple screen at that point. Like,
I think they were trying to decide if they even wanted to call goaltender interference because he iced Piotr so bad. Like him and Stahl came in hard, and he iced him to the point where there was a snow shower, and Piotr couldn't see. And I think even Piotr was like, does it count? Like, does that count as interference? What is this? So that was the only blemish, but we didn't give them any life. And Sean Walker, the beauty that you are, he is playing such good hockey recently. Like he is so comfortable. He's pushing. He's pushing to the net. He's playing really good defense. He's being physical. He's fighting guys 100%. Every now and then. Like, I'm not dealing with this.
No, the fact that it was his 3rd goal of the season, the fact that he even played with Morrow, too, was absolutely fantastic.
Morrow played an amazing 2 games as well. He looks very comfortable with the Canes.
Luckily, they have a really good system that is exactly the same as Chicago. He's absolutely killing it for the Wolves. But it's just, the fact of how good – just the fact that Walker's gotten so much better, because we all know it takes time, but Tripp's been saying it, Mike's been saying it. We've seen for the last month that his game just keeps continually getting better, and the fact that he walked that from face-off dot to face-off dot, waiting out the Tampa Bay guys and shoots on a Vasilevsky, just my goodness, Sean Walker, like that was just. Pretty much almost all, like outside of the Martinic goal, which is like, how did that go in? Almost every goal in this game was just nasty.
Beautiful.
Like how, like I said, Kat, 8 goals in 2 games. there's times we had 3 goals in 3 games and we got 8 and 2, and it was just absolutely phenomenal 60 minutes of Hurricanes hockey. Like, this is the team we were been waiting to see since mid-November, of a team who was just absolutely just rolling. And who would have thought, too? And the fact we have guys out, like Svetch is out, still have no update on what that situation's like.
Orlov's out.
He might be back soon. I'm not sure. But the fact that you plug and play Jost with Kotkaniemi and Stankoven, they look good. You got Morrow plugging in with Walker. He's looked good. Like, they're
Stankoven with the stalls for a second too, and talk about some dogs in a fight.
Oh my God! Talk about who wants to go up a line where you got Jordan Stahl, who's basically like a redwood on skates, essentially, he's a brick, house. You got Jordan Martinook, who's not afraid to whip some tail when you need to. And then you got the 5'8" bulldog in Stankoven, who's not afraid to throw his weight around.
You got a tree, a bulldozer, and a bulldog all in one line together.
Exactly. We talk about how who would you rather get hit? Like, who would you rather get hit by? Stahl, Martinook, or Carrier? It's almost like, who do you want to get hit with? Those two and Stankoven. Like, do you want the short king bulldog, or do you want one of these two guys who easily could destroy you if they really wanted to? Like, there is a bruise line, and that's those three.
That's going to probably be a question for the next couple of teams that the Canes will be facing in this really busy month. And we're going to, look forward to those couple ones coming up. But we're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors that, make all of this possible. And we'll be right back to talk about the upcoming games.
All right, this NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going. But that just means there's more time for your favorite team to figure things out and games left for you to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
If you're looking for another local sponsor for our podcast that has been around for quite a while, I think Zach's got a few things to tell you.
I mean, Primo X Hockey only has been our OG sponsors even before episode 1 back in 2022. We are now on 3 years with Primo X Hockey being one of our main sponsors, and cannot say enough about those guys. If you go to PrimoXHockey.com, go to checkout, use code the SurgeCast, you get 20% off your order, and they also got free shipping, and they also get internationally too. And the thing is, they are open Monday through Saturday, occasionally on some Sundays. But the good thing too is, $5 skate sharpenings. If you need to get your skate sharpened, go check them out. They're at 1401 Diggs Drive, Suite E, 15 minutes from the arena. Basically, you're helping out fellow season ticket members for the Hurricanes, and like I said, just a great group. If you're looking for sticks, indoor, outdoor pucks, tape, laces. They even got really sick merch too. We're talking hats, flags, t-shirts, koozies, whatever you can think of, man, they got it, and so much more. I'm just glad they've been with us for this long. I can't believe it's been 3 years, Kat, that we've had Primo X Hockey.
Honestly, the paid intern and me are going to try to get some skating under our belts because we eventually maybe want to do a beer league. And I said
they do sell skates there too. So
yeah,
hey,
so I know when we're finally going to be getting into some of that stuff, and we need a deal, and we need a local, we're going to Primo. So
the thing too is, like, they actually have an in-store. You can go to their store too. Like I said, if you go to 1401, get your skate sharpened there. They have an inside store. Let them know that you heard about them through us at the SurgeCast. Like I said, they've been with us for 3 years now. Great group. They have a lot of great stuff. Like I said, you got stick tape. They got laces, skates, sticks, helmets, anything you can think of. They pretty much got it there. And they've been doing it all the right way. So, yeah, basically, just go check out Primo X Hockey. Shop local, support local. and you're helping out fellow season ticket members. Why
Yeah.
not? Why not? And big thank you to those guys for being here with us for so long.
Yeah. And then, of course, I want to remind, I said it at the top of the show, but I also want to do a reminder is that we now do partner with the NHL Shop. And guys, there's a bunch of fun things. I mean, you've got the Four Nations gear. I know the jerseys are a little much, but if you're looking for a t-shirt, a hat, anything that fits your fancy, or hey, maybe you have Christmas money left over somehow, and you want to splurge a little bit, or it's someone's birthday gift and you do want one of those awesome jerseys, I definitely do. A Jarvis Canada jersey would be. But also, if you have fans of, I mean, some of the stuff for the stadium series also is really awesome. Unfortunately, they don't have like the Red Wings helmets, which I think is the coolest thing. But if you're looking for anything throughout the year, it could be for one of these big events for the NHL or just throughout the year, you want some more gear. If you use our link for the NHL Shop, you're helping support your favorite podcast, which we really appreciate. Guys, we really don't do this for anything except the love of talking hockey. But if we had a little bit of help on the back end, is even more fun talking hockey. And honestly, it's not anything different. You go to the link, it's just like normal ordering. So yeah, help out your favorite hockey podcast. All right, thank you so much to our sponsors. Again, they make all of this possible. We really appreciate it. And of course, guys, if you guys, I mean, I think there's some new merch out there. They've done a little bit of a revamp on some merch. Use our NHL affiliate link, support us, and we'll be able to keep talking hockey with all of you wonderful people. But yeah, you can check out the link in all of our intern will put it available for you guys, but check it out. Yeah. If you're going to get a purchase, you might as well, help out your favorite podcast.
I mean, why not? I mean, if you want to get, a Cole Stank jersey,
get some new merch. Get some new merch, especially for the upcoming games. We've got 2 East Coast teams to play before we go on our California trip. So we have Detroit and Philadelphia coming back. Yep. So we've got our home game. Friday is our last home game for a while. Then we have a stretch with the Flyers, and then they'll be going out to California. So how are we feeling about those, Zach?
I mean, we beat Detroit last time 2-1. It wasn't it was a dominant game. It's just Alex Lyon did Alex Lyon things. So the score doesn't really indicate how that game went. I think they could have won 4-1. But they're 7th in the Atlantic. They're in a free fall right now. Like, they are struggling upon struggling in Detroit. I'm feeling pretty good about it. If we get the same efforts that we've seen, because they're on a 5-game heater right now, you love to see it. Mm-hmm. We got back-to-back games of 60 minutes of Hurricanes hockey. You bring that into Detroit, I don't see why you don't win that game. I mean, as long as Alex Lyon, if it is him, as long as he doesn't do what he did last time. But this for me, this is a winnable. This should be easily beat. Well, not easy. It should be winnable. I'll put it that way. It should be a winnable game.
Winnable if you have the team that played the last 2 games against
Winnipeg. It's very winnable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Agreed. And so we'll probably be seeing. Our intern does love himself some Patrick Kane, so he had to tell us that tonight. Patrick Kane did have 2 goals and 2 assists.
Wow. Well, I guess we'll see how that works out for us on Friday night. So,
but we should be seeing Anderson in net, I would believe.
I would believe so. If we're still doing the switcheroos that have been going on, it would be Anderson against Detroit. Then most likely it's going to be Peter against Philly. So
we're going from playing the 7th in the Atlantic to the 7th in the Metro with Philadelphia.
Oh my gosh. Winnable. I mean, we've already beaten them twice in November. I mean, of course, this was that weird part of the month where it's like, what's happening? But
and they're on a 5-game losing streak right now.
Yeah, Flyers are in all kinds of mess right now. Yeah, like honestly, Kat, we should be staring at least, what are we at? 39 wins. We should be looking at 41 before we got to California.
Yeah. I
I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but
no. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be easy. Especially we got to see these Canes playing on the road again. That's really where we always test to see, hey, are you guys up to the challenge?
13, 15, and whatever.
I hope they just keep this fire under them and they play just as they did the last 2 games, and they play that way against Detroit and Philly, because then you're going out to California and you're not playing the hardest teams out in California, but
however,
you're traveling. You're still California. You're traveling. You're still on different times. Like, just do it. Like, prepare. And one of them, you're still with your home crowd, which is always what gets the Canes going. So I agree with you. They are winnable games. They're winnable games, especially with the way the Canes are playing.
To be honest, I'd say 4 out of 4 points. Like, you have to get 4. At the worst, it's 3, and it's probably
you should get 4. Not
it should be,
worried that
it should be 4.
Not that you're worried that the Devils are catching you at the moment, but you just get the points. You want to keep climbing in the points so you get home ice as long as possible.
Yeah, the Capitals, I've already reserved to the pack that we're just not going to catch them because they're also on a 5-game winning streak, and they're so far ahead at this point. I think it's 12 points, and there's like 17 games left. That's going to be a very tough hill to climb. So honestly, at this point, Cap, keep winning, keep getting points, get second.
At this point,
be done.
At this point, I'm not worried. No, I'm not worried about catching the Capitals. At this point, just get more points than both Toronto and Florida, so that you have home ice for the majority of the time.
Well, I mean, yeah. As long as we're heading to New Jersey, and then if it's Columbus, so.
No, but I'm saying, like, when we have to play the Atlantic teams.
Oh, yeah.
Home ice advantage.
Right. That's when we get to the Eastern Conference final. Yeah, we definitely need to find a way to stay ahead of them. So I think we're 1 point back of Florida. I think we're ahead of Tampa. I think the last time I checked, I think we're 3rd in the entire East and like 6th in the entire NHL in points. So you're looking pretty good. Yeah. 6th in the entire league, 3rd in the East. I know Florida, I know you play the same amount of games, but 1 point back of Florida.
Yeah, the current overall, it's Capitals, Jets, Stars, Knights, Panthers, us.
Yeah.
Leafs, Avalanche, Lightning, Oilers, Wild, Kings.
Yeah. The only reason why Washington's ahead of Winnipeg is just because they played one less game. It's just points percentage. That's all it really is. Even though it's the same amount of points.
But I'm sure Washington was really happy that we beat the Jets.
Winnipeg, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Washington is just, still have no idea how that's even possible. But honestly, at this point, I'm good with second. Just get home ice advantage and do what you can. And like I said, if you get second in the East, congratulations. You might have a chance to get home ice in the Eastern Conference final. So, but
honestly, what I'm more excited about is currently in the wild card, the race there.
Ottawa and Columbus.
If both the Rangers and the Bruins are out, it's amazing.
I doubt the Bruins are going to make it now, since they just basically fire sailed their entire team, and I think it's all that's left is Pastrnak and Geeky and Swayman.
Honestly, I thought they were, because of the fire sale. I thought because of the fire sale they were doing worse, but they aren't that far out of it, which is really interesting. But anyway, the Canes are cruising. We're still in second place. That hasn't changed. It looks like we've got our mojo back. The locker room is full. The guys want to be there. They're buzzing. They're so excited. They just celebrated Burns' 40th. And you know what? They're ready to put these 2 weeks behind them and just get back to Canes hockey. And you know what? We were in a little bit of a struggle going into that trade, a little bit, and those 2 weeks after the trade. It looks like this was the re-energized, hey, get your heads on right, guys, and let's play hockey that they needed. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, thank you, Mikko Rantanen, for at least doing that for us. We greatly appreciate it. But yeah, we can't wait for these next 2 games. Guys, go check out the Canes on Friday as they play their last home game for like a week or so against the Detroit Red Wings. Should be a good one. Honestly, Lenovo has been bumping the last 2 games. So
the music has been phenomenal choice.
Oh my gosh. Just guys, I hope, unfortunately, I will not be at that game, but I really pray for everyone that's listening that if you are going and you're watching that game in person, pray for a Stankoven goal, because last time when he scored, they played Stanky Leg, and it was the best goal song that you've ever heard. But
so great.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Surge Cast. We started on, kind of this kind of been bothering us all week, to, hey, we're at a high point. We're on a 5-game winning streak. The guys are buzzing. It's such a great time to be a Carolina hockey fan. And hey, we want to be here. We want to support this team. The guys want to be here. They're ready to play some hockey and getting ready to go into playoffs, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week on the Surge Cast. See you later, guys.
Bye.